welcome to Stay and Be, where we talk about some true crime and make some art. Today we are going to be discussing one of the biggest cases in true crime history. I'm very excited. Anna, of course, wrote me the script, and without further ado, let's get into it. Today we are going to tackle one of the most infamous killers in the history of killers, given many names by the public such as Leather Apron, Whitechapel Butcher, and Whitechapel Jack. This guy gave himself his own name, Jack the Ripper. In the Whitechapel district in the East End of London, from August to November 1888, 5 murders took place, seeming to be done by the same killer. We call these victims the Canonical Five, since no one actually knows if they were killed by the same person, and it could have possibly been a much larger number of victims. Pretty much everything about Jack the Ripper is circumstantial, because there was not really much to go off of other than 5 bodies killed in similar manner, and some letters some dude claiming to be the killer. Really, the only things that connect the murders to each other are that all the victims were prostitutes, killed similarly with an obvious knowledge of human anatomy, and they were all killed within a mile of each other. Oh, and also the letters from the guy who said he was Jack the Ripper, and that everyone believed. With reason though, and we will get into that, so be patient. So in the 19th century, East End London was home to skilled immigrants, mostly Jews and Russians, that were just like any other immigrant looking for a new life or wanted to start a business. The East End was very much where the poor people lived, and everyone knew that. It was not a fun time there. There was a lot of violence and crime. So, a very fitting setting for our murders. No one would notice some extra bodies lying around, right? Because of the poverty known to the people in this area, a lot of women had to turn to prostitution in order to support themselves, which was only illegal if it caused a public disturbance. And because polite society preferred not to talk about it, deaths and such of these girls weren't really reported ever. However, Jack the Ripper's victims were killed in such a way that it was hard to just sweep them under a rug. Police connected the murders to a sadistic, sociopathic killer that even those citizens that resented the lifestyles of those girls wouldn't have the guts to do. All of the victims had their throats slashed, and some of their organs had been removed. First body was found in Bucks Row on August 31st, 1888. The body of Mary Ann Nichols was found by Charles Cross and his buddy Robert Paul, who had been taking an evening stroll when they saw bundled at the end of the street. Could you imagine just being on a walk one day and you just stumble across a dead body? I have been in the room with dead bodies as a open house exhibit for a college that was showing their cadavers that their med students were working on. When I walked in there, of course, it was still unnerving because it's like a real human corpse. But it was in a more normal setting where it was understood that it was okay. But to have that experience of seeing a human corpse just while you're strolling along the road, you're just taking your dog out for a walk and suddenly that must be absolutely... I wonder how these people deal with that after the fact. Like, how much therapy do you need after going on a walk and just stumbling across a corpse? Especially in a lot of these, murder, true crime cases. It's pretty gross, I would assume, especially since some of these had, organs removed. So it was probably, a really gory scene. I'm pretty sure that, Jack the Ripper wasn't cleaning up. Especially, if it's on, concrete. How do you even clean concrete? That's going to be there forever? I don't know. I don't know how that works. But it's going to be there at least for a really long time. So, yeah, you probably, that place, probably you never want to go there again. It would suck if you're going to work and you have to pass that every single day and you're just oh, yep, that's where I saw just human pieces. Yikes. That must be the most traumatizing thing ever. And I guess I only realized that right now, oh yeah, that would be horrific. I would suck. And the smell, the smell also, like, although I don't know what it would be like if it's like, hopefully you don't find it too late, but like if it's been out there, like those bodies that are found like when you're hiking and it's like been decomposing for a while, like that smell would never leave you. Ugh, freaks me out. A pleasant sight for a pleasant evening, and according to police, Mary had only been dead for about half an hour. However, they were able to figure that out in those days. So the killer may have very well been close by. Mary's throat had been slashed, and she had been disemboweled. How did they... Hold on, let me see here. Looks like up until the 19th century, we just kind of used the best guess based on what we have seen in the past so far and just kind of observe, since, I mean, people died way before that, so we just kind of gathered best guess. But I guess in the 19th century, they really started to study it. So this probably happened like right on the verge of when they were stop using guesswork, so that's interesting. Now you know, it was mostly guesswork, but based on past deceased bodies, nothing super scientific, just general observations. The second victim was Annie Chapman, found at 19 Hanbury Street on September 8, 1888. She was found by an old guy named John Davis, who lived in the building on that street. Once again, that would suck to be right in front of your house when you see a dead body, and now you have to get involved in all of this. Like I was saying earlier, like imagine that you're just like walking to work and then you have to pass that every single day. It would be much worse being right outside your front door. You just have to move at that point, right? Although there might have been so much violence and crime that maybe it didn't even matter at that point. That's scary. That's worse. Honestly, that makes it much worse if a dead body is just kind of like, yeah, I mean, that happens. I would not want to be known as the guy who found the body. First, you accidentally stumble upon a dead body, which can't be pleasant, and then you have to go out of your way to report it, and then all of the stuff that goes with that. And it just does not sound like a good use of my time. And like, I feel like a lot of people may not report seeing a dead body because I feel like that might be the suspect, because you're the first one who stumbles upon the body. Like, okay, well, did you put the dead body there? And is that why you're telling me this? Although I don't think that most of the time the killer reports a dead body. So while I understand that line of thinking, like you don't want to be implicated, but I think it is more uncommon for the killer to report the dead body. I'm not sure. But yeah, that would suck to, especially if you have to like go to work or something and you have to call like, hey, I found a dead body. I'm going to be late because I get to go down to the police station for the rest of the day instead of going and making money. Yeah, that just would suck all around. All of that experience would just suck. If you have found a dead body, I am sorry. Also, tell me what happened, because I am clearly nosy and into this horrifying stuff. Anyway, once again, Annie's throat was cut. This time, the killer took her womb. This clue led to the divisional police surgeon, George Baxter Phillips, to conclude that the killer had probably known a thing or two about the human body. This leads us to our first letter. The letter was sent to the newspaper and it said, "Dear boss, I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. I have laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on the right track. That joke about leather apron gave me real fits. I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled. Grand work the last job was. I gave the lady no time to squeal. How can they catch me? I love my work and I want to start again. You will soon hear of me with my funny little games. I saved some of the proper red stuff in a ginger beer bottle over the last job, but it went thick and I can't use it. Red ink is fit enough, I hope. Ha ha. The next job I do shall clip the lady's ears off and send to the police officers. Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife's so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right away. Good luck. Yours truly, Jack the Ripper. He also added a nice little PS saying, "Don't mind giving me the trade name," and that's how Jack the Ripper got his name. The letter wasn't released until October 1st, but a lot of people thought it was made up by the journalists. 3 days after the first letter was delivered, Elizabeth Stride was found on Berner Street on September 30th. She was found by Louis Diemschutz. This time, only her throat was cut, which many believe that Louis interrupted this third murder and the killer wasn't able to get his full trademark killing. But he didn't miss out on anything that night because 45 minutes after the discovery of Elizabeth's body, another body was found. And that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you join me next week to finish discussing this case. And I hope that in the meantime, you stay curious and creative. Peace! In the wood...